Welcome back. The Everglades is Florida's river of grass, its currents flowing across a landscape of history and culture, land and legend. The Glades is the inspiration behind an ambitious art project now on view at Miami-Dade's main public library. Here to tell us about Everglades Forever is curator Denise Delgado. Welcome to downtown Dade.
Hi, how are you doing?
New to the show. Welcome to the show. It's so nice to see you. Interested people might not think of the library as a place to go to see art, but there are actually a couple of art shows going on, and this is in the upper space, in the second floor. Everglades Forever. This is the work of two artists. Tell us about this collaboration. Who are they and their collaboration they're working on?
Their names are Edwin Villasmil and Elba Martinez, and they're both from Venezuela. They've been in Miami for about 3 years now, and they're artists, environmentalists, and activists, and educators.
And they're educators, so there is kind of an educational component to this show, but this is not like any textbook you've ever seen at all. We have some video running of some of the imagery. These are the drawings.
Right.
There's a whole array of drawings across a couple of walls as part of this show. Now, is that primarily Edwin who works on the drawing and graphic arts?
Again, it's collaborative. A lot of his work, his sort of the foundation of his work is drawing. It's very graphic. He uses a lot of line drawings, sort of stays specifically with black and white. Elba's work is more sculptural and more kind of painterly. And so the sort of centerpiece of the show is this kind of double wall with this artist book. Basically, they put together this artist book. It's 300 pages long. Wow. It's drawings based on Marjorie Stoneman Douglas's book, The Everglades, River of Grass. And so they've pulled from historical documents from the book. There's a lot of text that's excerpted from the book.
The poetic parts, Edwin told me.
Yes, the poetic parts.
We picked the poetic parts out of the book.
Yeah, I was telling him that I was reading the book, and he's like, "No, it's too long." We excerpted a lot of the parts of the book that are sort of the most that have the most impact or the most evocative or visual, I guess.
And this double wall of drawings is more or less chronologically. It starts off, we had some video earlier that was kind of the general environment of the Everglades, and we were looking at some stuff about wildlife in the Everglades, and it moves on to the human habitation, the native people, and the European explorers who came eventually working up to the 19th century, settlement, pollution, disaster. But part of the idea, Edwin, putting these together, he does line drawings, but he also uses a copier to produce to create the original drawings, but then also as means of distributing them. They have like an idea of, not that this is necessarily going to stand on a gallery wall, but it's going to move around a bit.
It's purposely very low tech, first of all, because it's easier for them. I mean, it's more affordable way of, they're materials that are easy to access.
Sure.
Basically, the foundation of their work, or of actually Villasmil's work in particular, is drawing in paper. And he'll make these, he's really prolific. He works really hard. He makes just these ongoing series of drawings and then collages them. He uses the copy machine to kind of manipulate the images more and reproduce them and bring sort of images that he's created originally into sort of new forms. So then they make flyers, they make these sort of comic books. The
individual works could work almost as kind of small posters.
Yeah, like posters. Like he basically says that, for the price of a piece of paper, for 7 cents that it takes to make a copy, you can give somebody a work of art.
Wow.
So it's purposely made to be very democratic, very accessible to the public, something that will engage people.
It's very strong visual style. It's very engrossing, I found. And one of the little challenge you can have if you go see the show at the main library is kind of look for where he signs his name on different, it's always in a different place, and there's always a different, if you're looking for amusement, because actually these artworks are very engrossing and interesting, not only for their content, there's Henry Flagler, but for their way they're carried out. And their technique and their look. Now, we're going to go through some more drawings here, but there's also another visual component of this, which is kind of sculptural, and there are some paintings involved. And now it's a collaboration, but Elba is more involved in the sculpture.
Yeah, I mean, they really work together. They research together when they do these workshops and stuff for the public. They work together. And this is a project that they've been working on over the course of several years. So they started in Venezuela. They started by they wanted to do something related to the environment, something that had a social impact on life here in Miami. So they started researching the Everglades there, and then when they got here, you know, they started the exhibition first took place in the Ernest Co-Visitor Center at Everglades National Park. So it was a really perfect place for them to start the show. Then they did it at West Dade Region, an exhibition called The Everglades Invade the City at West Dade Regional Library. And then the plan was for them to do sort of an expanded version of that show here at Main Library on the second floor. So the second floor is this really big, kind of challenging space, and we're trying to do kind of more site-specific stuff there. So basically we showed them the space, and what they came up with was a response to that space, something that would really fill it. They came up with sort of a whole floor plan of the way the work would be installed. So the sculpture, those sort of hanging acrylic murals, and the fish made out of recycled water bottles, that was all ways to sort of fill the space. So most people have been, you know, responding really well, not just art audiences, lots of different types of people, kids and adults, to the work, like you were just saying, the really graphic work that kind of, you know, brings people in. But also just, one of the librarians remarked that being there, they feel like they're on a theater set or something. It's very kind of theatrical. And actually they, Edwin has a background, well, both of them have a background with working for theater and set design and stuff too.
Keeps evolving like the Everglades itself. Everglades Forever is on view now at Miami-Dade's main public library. The Everglades may be eternal, but this exhibition is not. You can see it through August 10th. If you'd like to find out what is showing where in Miami-Dade's library system, art-wise, visit the library's website at mdpls.org. That is your gateway to library services and information, lots of it. Or you can call 305-375-2665. Denise Delgado, thank you for guiding us through Everglades Forever.
Thank you.
Thanks. Downtown Dade will return in just a moment.